Hi there, welcome to the video for weekend number 5 of lockdown in the UK. I thought I'd start outside today because the sun's shining again. It's a beautiful day. It's not very warm yet. What time is it? It's just gone 12:07. It's about 11 or 12 degrees, but it's hot in the sun and it's a lovely blue sky. So here's a beautiful sight of suburban England. Some weeds, 2 Wellbrook magnetic loops, one still routed into the living room, but I've attached another radio to it, which I'll show you in a minute. And then there's the other Wellbrook loop hanging off the fence, and a little bit more difficult to see, but the Benito Mega Loop FX also hanging on the fence. It's quite a lot of road noise today. It's been really quiet for the last few weeks, but quite a few cars coming past right now. Not sure what they're doing or what they're supposed to be doing, but and then the back garden's still a bit of an antenna farm. I took that to my 2-meter collinear antenna, well, 2 meters 70 centimeters that I'm using currently for FT8. This is I'm really proud of this. This is a Heath Robinson affair if ever there was one. The antenna itself, I think I mentioned, is sort of constructed from welding rod, and then I put it inside a sort of piece of plastic pipe to sealed it to weatherproof it, attached it to a 7-meter fishing pole, which has now been attached to a couple more pieces of plastic pipe, and I reckon it's probably, I don't know, 11, 12 meters above the ground. And I'm still doing it. I'm kind of into FT8 on 2 meters at the moment. I ran FT8 on 40 meters in the week for a day and was decoded over 1,000 times, and that, which is nice, but it's almost feels a bit too easy, really. So anyway, so there's 4 antennas, and then obviously the G5RV, which survived all the windy weather we had a while back, and it also survived my collinear sort of collapsing before I secured it better onto it. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but anyway, it collapsed onto the G5RV, which then kind of just flexed at the ends, and no damage done. So yeah, it's amazing actually. The neighbours haven't got more to say about it really, but they don't have anything to say about it at all, as if it's perfectly normal to have a modest antenna farm in your back garden in a sort of suburban location. So there you go. So FT8 on 2 meters is something I'm doing this weekend, and but let's just go back into the living room. So I had the Sony ICF 2001D attached to the Wellbrook loop here in the living room, and it's not because I'm lazy. It is because I'm lazy, but there are times when I just am here sat on the sofa watching TV, and I want to just switch on the radio and have a tune around HF DX in the late hours of the evening, early hours of the morning, and it involves getting up, going next door and switching radios on, whereas here I've now moved the ICR75 into the living room. It's connected permanently to one of the Wellbrook loops, and now all I have to do is lean over and press the power switch, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of evenings. So, but this weekend, well, actually I've already recorded several videos which are going to be uploaded. Actually, they've been uploaded, but I haven't written descriptions and published them yet, but I'll do that this weekend. So I fell asleep on the sofa a couple of nights ago and woke up at like 5:30. The sun was just coming over the horizon, and VOCM on 590 was kind of booming in, and it was kind of very nice to be sat here looking outside at the garden with the sun coming up, listening to VOCM. I also copied Grenada on 1400, Winds, New York on 1010, Puerto Rico on 1660 on AM, all in daylight hours, and so it's quite nice actually. I mean, the thing with it is that even if you don't have a Wellbrook loop, if you're allowed, put a shortwave radio in your living room, or even a portable, and run a piece of wire outside. And then, you know, if you're sat here in the late hours of the evening, it's, you know, switch the radio on and see what you can hear. I mean, it's been said many times before, but even if you're using a shortwave portable at home, as long as the noise isn't too bad, attaching sort of 15 or 20 feet of wire to the telescopic will seriously improve performance. If you've got a magnetic loop and you can attach that to it, more the better, obviously. But anyway, that's what I'll be doing this weekend. I don't tend to watch a lot of TV anyway, but so I'll be having a tune around on the ICR 75, which is a fantastic radio, I have to say. So I'll switch it off for now. So let's just go into the shack. So what else? Well, one thing I'm definitely going to be doing, because I've been promising myself this for a long time, is I need to figure out a transmitting antenna for top band. My ham radio club is Harwell Amateur Radio Society. Some of you will know that because I regularly upload sort of videos of our Friday night sked. And when I had a transmitting setup in Abingdon with a G5RV, with about 50 meters or so of coax attached to it to route to my radio, it would match on top band, no problem at all. And you know, because obviously it had a very long piece of coax, I don't know what it did, added additional capacitance into it, I don't know, but it matched on top band, no problem, when it's not really supposed to do that. I've got an identical antenna here, out there, and it doesn't match on top band at all, and I've got about, I don't know, maybe 10 meters of coax attached to it. So one of the things I'm going to do this weekend is I'm going to sort of look at options for top band antenna. Now, the two probably easiest options are a short and vertical. So basically this is a loaded vertical antenna based on a sort of the basic principle of a quarter wave vertical. And the problem with this is that, well, all of these antennas for top band require really, really good grounding. And you know, it's better obviously if you've got a lot of space. And the problem with verticals is that they're inherently more noisier, and since I've been here, I've not caused any interference to any of my neighbours whatsoever. So I'm wary of a vertical, having used my SEX80 at my old QTH, which caused a lot of noise. Now, there's two mitigating factors there. One is that the neighbours at my old QTH were incredibly close, literally behind a brick wall. The garden was very small, and also an SEX80 with no downplane. Effectively, the coax shielding was a downplane, and so inherently noisier, but nevertheless I want to avoid that. But having looked, this is a book, and I'll tell you what, I recommend this book to anyone if you can get it. It's I've got the 5th edition of the Practical Antenna Handbook by Joseph Carr and George Hippersley, and I bought it from Blackwell's in Oxford, and basically every antenna design you could possibly think of is covered in this book. So I got it out yesterday to start looking. What's potentially more interesting for top band 160 meters is an inverted L antenna, and because it allows you to construct an antenna that's got obviously a vertical component, which would be lambda over 8, and a horizontal component, also preferably lambda over 8, wavelength over 8. Essentially, you need about 170 feet of wire, and with as much of it in the vertical plane as possible, but it also does need very, very good grounding. I mean, this design here is suggesting 12 to 15 radials of between 50 to 150 feet. I mean, you just imagine, again, you know, that's no small undertaking, but you know, if I want to get on top band, I've got to find a solution. So that's something I'll be doing this weekend. Something I'll also be doing, and I'm already doing, is FT8, 30 watts into my collinear using the FT991. And interestingly, we had Harwell Amateur Radio Friday night net last night, and the guy that runs that net, Roger, is G0AOZ, and if you can see, I decoded his signal several times this morning. Now, we were actually talking about FT8. He said that he's just started using it on 2 meters. And so this morning I've decoded the signal. So I actually took a screenshot of this and emailed it to him, just to let him know that that I'm decoding him. But he probably knows that from PSK Reporter. So I've been running this now for probably a couple of hours, and as you can see, I've already been decoded. There's this station in Southern Ireland. Here's my signal all the time. Echo India 2 Foxtrot Golf. He hears my signal all the time. I quite often am decoded in Calais, a station there, but this is where we are this morning. So it's really interesting how the 2 meter band kind of opens and closes really quickly. Decoded quite a lot of signals this morning, was receiving a lot of signals, but then I haven't received very much in the sort of past 15 or 20 minutes. So yeah, but I like FT8. The thing with FT8, as I said, is that it's just more difficult to get out there. And on 20 meters and 40 meters, when conditions are good, you know, start it running, start transmitting, and within sort of like 30 seconds, you know, 2 or 3 rounds of transmitting, you know, you've been decoded 20, 30, 40 times. Like I said, I ran it on 40 meters one day last week, just in the background because I'm working from home. In a working day, without really taking much notice, I was decoded over 1,000 times. I think I must have probably made 60 or 70 contacts. So it is an easy way to make contacts, and I still enjoy it, but obviously on 2 meters, you know, it's just a bit more of a challenge. You need a lift really to start making contacts, or even decoding what you would consider to be DX, and I consider that to be anything on the continent really, because under normal circumstances this is the kind of pattern of reception that I see on 2 meters. This is very, very typical. So yeah, so then that makes it interesting. So there you go. So that's my weekend, lockdown weekend number 5. Like I said before, you know, we're sort of a bit blessed really to have a brilliant hobby that we can carry on doing at home. And if you, like me, prefer to be outside tinkering with an antenna as much as you are actually sort of listening to the radio, then more's the better. Still an horrendous situation. I've got no idea how long I'm going to be stuck at home, working from home, socially isolating, etc., etc. But there's no doubt that without the brilliant hobby of radio, and here you can see what that kind of amounts to for me, it would be much, much worse. So yeah, I think we are a little bit blessed at least to have this brilliant hobby. No progress at all in even starting to look through my recently acquired huge collection of vintage practical wireless magazines, but I will do so. One thing I have done actually, I've moved my Hacker Super Sovereign into the living room. It's been sat up there for a long time. I've replaced it with my cherished Sony ICF SW77. I've moved it into the living room because that Hacker is, in my opinion at least, a bit of a work of art really. You know, from that point of view, and it's got superb audio, and I do actually listen to the radio. I listen to TalkSport actually and 5 Live quite a lot, so good to have it in there. One thing I don't have is enough room, because I'm working from home. I tend to spend my working days in here as well on this bench, and so what I've had to do is I've had to order a desk from IKEA, which I'll set up in one of the spare bedrooms upstairs, and so as I can have a kind of dedicated area for doing work rather than just sit here in my radio room. And so that should be on its way and arrive early next week. So there you go. So that's my weekend. So in tonight, no doubt I'll be listening on HF with the ICOM ICR 75, and it may be, if I'm up late enough in the early hours of the morning, I'll have a tune around the medium wave band. And then otherwise during the day, I'll have FT8 running in the background, and maybe I'll come to a decision in terms of what I'm going to do to get myself on air on Top Band. So a few things to do, most of them enjoyable, and I hope that maybe inspires some of you to do something yourself, even if it's just sitting around listening to the radio, as I have said a few times before, no doubt. Okay, well, that's about it from me and the shack. I wish you all a very nice weekend. I wish you all good DX if you're listening to the radio, but above all, I wish you all to keep safe, and I'll look forward to, no doubt, writing to some of you via the comments on the YouTube channel, and there'll be another video, obviously, next weekend. So keep safe, everyone. Thanks for watching, and 7-3.